اذا كان دو موان نستخدموا التجربه الايطاليه وكل قانون مقارن خصوصا الوغ في علاقه بالتجربه الايطاليه مثلا كما قلنا سينيور افوكاتو اسكو ثم استثناء للسر والا لا؟ مشكور.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your detailed and questions on the points. Let's start with the first one about corruption. I see two sides of this question. First one, corruption in mediation. In my experience, cannot happen because the mediator is not a judge, is not an arbitrator. So we do not decide. We don't have the power to impose our decision. So even if we are corrupted, we cannot decide the settlement. So for this reason, mediation could be a good alternative where in some countries, some jurisdictions where corruption could be an issue of the judiciary. We didn't, I don't think at least in my experience, there were courts in mediation. One of the reason to recourse to mediation is to avoid corruption in courts. We didn't experience this. Again, the only method to recourse to mediation in our experience in Italy is this little push of attending this first meeting. To terminate the mediation, our law prescribes very details when the mediation should be ended by the mediators or by the parties. For sure, one way is the time. The mediation cannot go more than 3 months in our legislation. From the day one party requests mediation to up to 3 months. Only if the parties both agree to go over 3 months, the mediation can go ahead. This is more important for the suspension of the terms, because we cannot suspend the terms more than 3 months without the agreement of the parties. Another way to end the mediation is simple. One party leave the table. You cannot, as mediator, impose to the parties to stay in mediation. If one party requests the end of mediations, you cannot do anything. They leave the table, and you as mediator you should write a document of determination of mediation. And of course, also the mediators can himself or herself decide to terminate the process if they do not see any improvement in the process. But again, this is, at least in our law, is quite detailed, regulated when and how to end the mediation process. About confidentiality, absolutely, there are exceptions. Again, this is ruled by our law, and most of the law, the legislative frameworks, they have exception of the confidentialities. One is again money laundering. We have expressed in the law if we in Italy we learn some information of money laundering, we need to inform the competent authorities. Of course, if we got information about a crime or a possible crime, we need to inform the authority, also for mafia and so on. But actually, I have to say, in my practice, it never happens. It's very rare. It's very rare. It never happened to me. It's real. It never happened to me. I did more than, I think, more than 2,000, maybe 2,500 mediations. It never happened to me that someone told me, oh, I got information about money laundering, about mafia, and I'm from Sicily, by the way. I'm in front of Tunisia. I live in Rome, but I'm from Catania, from Sicily, and that never happened to me. But it's clear, it should be ruled, I agree. I agree with you, it should be clear in the law when there should be exceptions to the confidentiality.
تفضل الأستاذة أحلام بالسؤال، ما قعدناش برشا وقت للنقاش. بس آخر بعض الأستاذة أحلام
أستاذة أثار مقول مش فرع تونس. First of all, I want to thank both of you for the presentation and the valuable information taught today in this webinar. Actually, I have two questions. At the European level, is there a kind of ethical code for mediation? I mean, for mediator and advisors, both of them. And here, a special thing and mentions for questions dealing with the conflict of interest. So how to deal with it, and if there is guidelines about it. The second question is more a current topic, and it deals with mediation using robots and not an online mediation. In fact, due to the COVID-19 context, we notice a boom of digitalization of all the areas, and the legal one is not is involved too in this digitalization process. So I want to know and ask for the value of this digital settlement agreement, especially for the platform using artificial intelligence. And I want to know, I'm curious about the comparative systems process, especially that in Tunisia, actually there is there is some startups trying to find some solution in mediation and using artificial intelligence in this field. So I want to know this, if there is some examples in your comparative systems, and if not, if yes, the value of this settlement agreement. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the questions. About the ethical codes, sure, there are one ethical code for mediators. It was issued by in 2004 by the European Commission from a group of experts, and more or less has been so far the reference point from ethical code for mediators. Then at CEPEJ, Council of Europe, we have developed an ethical code for mediation providers, mediation centers that are a little bit different, and you can find in the website of the website of the CEPEJ. And both ethical codes, they regulate the conflict of interest, any possible conflict of interest for mediators and the mediation centers. Then again, among our works at the CEPEJ, with the help of the European Association of Lawyers, we have developed a guideline for lawyers, and where everything is there. It's a very detailed documents wrote by lawyers, from lawyers to lawyers, and they include any possible conflict of interest and an ethical code for lawyers in mediation. About the digitalization, I'll tell you our experience. When we started, when the pandemic was started here in Italy, one of the first emergency provisions that our government took was to allow mediations to be held online. Before it was not clear how far we could manage mediation online. So it was a clear provision to regulate the mediation online and also to sign the agreements online. In Italy, all lawyers, they have a digital signature, something like this one, fine, but it's some here, where, so basically, these things. So basically, when I put this pen in my computer, and I can legally sign a document, and it is binding. It's like a regular signature. These all lawyers, they must have, okay, and also representatives of companies they have. Sometimes citizens, of course, they do not have, and lawyers can sign on behalf of citizens. So I think we found a way, again, not only to manage mediation online, but also to sign the settlements online. About the use of artificial intelligence, actually, CEPEJ, there is a working group about cyber justice, and Rimantas is part of that group, and this is the future. They are talking about predictive, judgment, and maybe Rimantas is much more competent than me to talk about this.
I could supplement very briefly this question. So CEPEJ is currently developing guidelines or ethical guidelines on use of various technologies in mediation, including artificial intelligence. So basically this is it. There's no best practices or any guiding principles currently available. There are certain tools in European countries, in the United States, and some Asian countries developing with artificial intelligence functionality as well, helping for negotiations and mediations, and sometimes for adjudication of various disputes. But as regards the ethical standards or best practices, currently these standards are only developing. But you might see in the nearest future this framework shall become more clear. CEPEJ has developed certain ethical charter on use of artificial intelligence tools in courts activities, so in adjudication made by state courts. And this ethical charter is published, and it is one of the first documents in the world tackling these particular issues. And in this document you might find, it's available online, you might find lots of observations on what precautions shall be made to allow artificial intelligence tools into the realm of dispute resolution. And some of the guiding principles to mention that use of these technological tools shall not undermine basic human rights. They shall be consistent in the application of human rights. These tools shall be in control of humans and by control of humans. They shall not make unpredicted and uncontrolled results. So there are other major issues tackled in these particular guidelines. So I believe in the same route, ethical context will develop in the field of application of artificial intelligence in mediation.